Good day, friends and hunters. Just a quick little video here. Try to keep it brief. Did get a little bit of hands-on, but due to the demo for Sunbreak, I know I haven't uploaded in a while, but we'll touch on that topic another time. Just mainly in a little bit of building a new office and getting everything ready to record better quality videos in the future. But I just wanted to touch on the Lance. Now, we know that's been a touchy subject for a while since they showed the Lance reveal alongside with the Longswords reveal. Now, we all know how that went, so I'm not going to go too far into detail on that. But as far as positive notes, we do have access to the 5 switch skills. We didn't have, at least in the demo, you couldn't change everything, but you could choose between insta block and guard like before, shield charge and regular charge like before. Then you had your spiral thrust, anchor rage, and skyward thrust. Then you had the twin vine, and it looks like we can finally get rid of Twin Vine, at least. That's the positive. Now, the other thing, there was no shield tackle available to be tested in this demo, despite them having it in the reveal trailer. So I don't know if they are repurposing it, fixing it, adjusting it, or what, but as far as I'm concerned, unless it's an omnidirectional move, it's worthless. I don't see any reason why you would use shield tackle over guard dash, because you can guard dash forward, backwards, left, and right, which, as far as what they showed in the showcase, shield tackle only goes forward. And if that's the case, I would never use it personally. I just don't see a use for it. And the other thing I want to touch on is skyward thrust. Now, there is nothing about that move that I can find that's a positive, and I'm sure other people dabble in it as well, but as far as me having played Lance for a very long time, since Monster Hunter Tri, now it's a cool flashy attack, at least for Lance. Lance has never had anything like this before, but we all know that it's recycled Diving Wyvern. It's an insect glaive attack that they just stuck on the Lance. Why? I don't know. But basically, the move has a big wide attack in front of you, and then you move forward a little bit, and then you pierce back down to the ground. Now, when I was doing the demo hunts, if it's a small monster like the Izuchi or something like that, if you're in your combo thrusting forward and then you just go right into Diving Wyvern as your combo finisher, if you're not paying attention to how close you are, there's a good chance you'll just whiff this entire move. That, to me, is a big problem within itself. And I know the Lance is supposed to be a precision weapon, but there's some give and take to some of them things, some things like that for me. The other thing I want to talk about is skyward thrust's damage, or lack thereof. Now, if I use spiral thrust, is it a little harder to get all 3 hits? It can be, but you are rewarded greatly for getting all 3 hits. And first you can get a counter, which gives you a buff, so there's 2 positives. It's also movement, so there's 3, and then it also deals damage. So there's 4 potential pieces of utility that spiral thrust fills. And on average, when I was fighting the Tetranodon, just that I had a proof of concept, my spiral thrust was hitting between 170 and 220 on weak spots with spiral thrust. So I could get 3 hits of around 200 damage, so 600. And the normal Lance attacks were doing about 65 to 75 damage. Now, when I went and did skyward thrust, your first hit, the big upswing before you come back diving down, is a standard Lance hit for damage. It does like 65 to 70 damage. And then one of your hits when you're coming back down is a big hit for, around that 200 damage benchmark. and then the other one is like halfway in between. Like it was somewhere between 80 and 100 and some damage. So, comparatively speaking, Skyward Thrust does a lot less damage than Spiral Thrust. It's faster, you can spam it more, but the other thing is Skyward Thrust has this obnoxiously awkward amount of recovery after the last hit, and it has no iframes on startup, no counter, and as far as I'm concerned, it's a unreasonable commitment for an attack for a Lance player to take. Like Spiral Thrust, if you mess up the timing a little bit, at least you're still moving out of the way. So if a monster's coming at you and you mistimed your counter or whatever, at least you're still moving. But this is like, hey, I missed. I'm wide open. Just hit me, I guess. And I don't like it. If I could make a suggestion to Capcom is to just erase this move and start from scratch. Even if we have to wait a couple months for them to program a new one or something, I'd be fine with that, because as it sits, I'm not going to use Skyward Thrust. It's just not going to happen. I think it's a terrible move. It has no purpose for the Lance's kit. It's supposed to be a damage dealer, but Spiral Thrust deals more damage. And that also has a counter, movement, and, a buff. Even if it's a short-lived buff, it's still something. Skyward Thrust has nothing. It is damage, and mediocre damage at that, with no counter, no movement, no buff, no nothing. And Shield Tackle almost looks the same way. It is a poor man's guard dash. Yeah, it does a little bit of KO damage when you charge forward, but that's what Shield Charge is for. Shield Charge already does that. Shield Tackle is useless. So, I don't know. I mean, well, the other thing let's talk about too is that guard evade, or switch evade for the Lance, and I would assume the Gun Lance as well. This is not a dodge. This is not an evade. There is no movement. We don't move or somersault or roll in any direction like, say, the longsword or the greatsword or one of them other weapons does. You basically get the insta-block animation. And I didn't test out the iframes or anything on this move, but another thing, it greatly impedes the flow for Lance for me. So I feel like personally, switch skill is kind of a bust for Lance, unfortunately. And the two new moves that you would want to switch things for, Skyward Thrust and Shield Tackle, are also a bust. I would not personally use them. If I was going to set up my new set of 5 skills, it would have just regular guard, unless you prefer insta-block, take your pick. I would have Shield Charge, I would have Guard Dash, I would have Spiral Thrust, and whatever I can change Twin Vine for. That's what I would do. And then I wouldn't even worry about using the switch skill swap. I just wouldn't. Because I would much prefer to do my poke combo and then time a Guard Dash or some sort of repositioning tool. That's, what I would use. If the switch evade was actually a repositioning tool like it is for all the other weapons, then yes, I would work it into my kit, even if both my skill swaps were exactly the same, just so that I had that extra movement option. But since it is not an extra movement option, I won't use it. I would love to hear other people's thoughts on these Lance changes, but for me personally, don't get me wrong, all right? I'm not griping on Monster Hunter the game. I'm griping on the changes solely, or lack thereof, that Lance received. We got, as far as I'm concerned, nothing. They shouldn't have even showed that showcase at all and just said, hey, we couldn't think of anything for the Lance. You guys can still play with the set of Rise skills that we already gave you. That's where I'm at. But Sunbreak, it looks awesome. They just showed, Daimyo Hermitaur, Shogun Xanatar, Gore Magala. Like, we have a ton of sweet hunts coming up. I am excited for the game, and I'm more than likely going to have to try some other weapons just to get my motivation. But, like, Hammer looks sweet, Greatsword looks sweet, Switch Axe looks sweet. All these other weapons, they look so much fun to play. And everything that I've done with Lance, and even my old guide that I made about a year ago, all of that is still 100% the exact same guide that I would make if I was going to make a guide for Sunbreak with the knowledge I have right now. That is just where I would be at. But anyway, I'm trying to keep this short, so I'm going to wrap it up here. I would like to hear your thoughts on these Lance changes. If you have played the demo as I have, if you have any of the same thoughts, or if you've experienced anything different, other mechanics with these moves that, maybe I didn't realize, but I just can't see any purpose for the two new moves that Lance has coming. I just can't. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. I will see you guys in the next video. I will hopefully be set up to record some Sunbreak stuff, but as it stands right now, my laptop needs an upgrade, and just so that I can provide the quality of videos that I want to make and the quality of videos that I feel like you guys would enjoy. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, like button. We all know the drill. Everybody says it. It does help. But you guys take care, and maybe I will see you out there hunting. Take care.